What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft back on FantasyPros with a 12-team PPR mock where we will be selecting from the first overall spot. Should be pretty interesting. The roster, typical type of situation: one quarterback, two RBs, two wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. So with that being said, we can get into it. And while we wait for this thing to load, a quick reminder: if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, let us hear it in the comment section, along with any questions you guys might have. This is the place to ask them. And lastly, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. And while you're there, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you could want at a great value. Details in the description. But with that being said, let's get into it. We're not going to waste any more time. Everybody and their grandma knows who you pick first overall in any type of PPR formats. That is Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to, even say any more on the fact. He is the unquestioned number one guy, and that speaks volume to it because he was hurt last year. He still retains that status, so that's pretty impressive. When you have the first pick overall, it's all about what you do afterwards. So that's what we're going to touch on here. Let's quickly look at these couple of selections, though, between the first and the second round. So you see Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, 103. Again, man, Aaron Jones, this is too early for Jones. You should be drafting Alvin Kamara ahead of him, in my opinion. Probably Ezekiel Elliott. You guys know how I feel about Austin Eckler. So even though I really like Aaron Jones, and he could very well be a top 5 running back, I would have him, in the 4 to 7 range. Then Derrick Henry, Zeke, Alvin Kamara. I'd have both those guys above Derrick Henry in full point PPR scoring, which is the case here. You see Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, the second overall wide receiver. And, this is one of those situations with that built-in variability with the computers. Normally, this pick is going to be at Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs, with the second overall wide receiver being drafted after Devontae Adams. Then Austin Eckler with the 109, followed by Saquon Barkley at 110. And it looks like Barkley's ADP probably, settling right around the middle to the end of the first round, like we predicted before in our breakdown of Barkley's situation. Then Tyreek Hill and Jonathan Taylor. I would probably be selecting Jonathan Taylor ahead of Saquon Barkley at this point in time. You've got the ACL to worry about. You've got a subpar offensive line with the New York Giants, whereas with Jonathan Taylor, guys trending towards getting a little bit healthier, no major injury. So that gets him in the category of smaller risk. Then in the second round, Stephon Diggs, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson. I'd be taking Antonio Gibson ahead of Najee Harris. Nick Chubb falls to the 8th pick in the second round. I get it, folks. This is PPR scoring, but Nick Chubb should not be falling that far, especially with how valuable running backs are. Then you see Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, a run and pass catchers, Travis Kelce. This is probably one of the latest spots I've seen him fall to. Usually, just preparing you guys for this situation, he's going to be a late first round, early second round selection, followed by Keenan Allen, Nick Chubb, A.J. Brown, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and DK Metcalf. So this is where the fun begins because, again, I said it before, the first pick when you've got the 101 selection, that's as easy as it gets. You don't have to worry about that one bit. It's what you do afterwards that kind of is going to determine whether you succeed or whether you've kind of got a questionable roster. So the way I'm looking at it right now, I don't want to go tight end because I think then we're going to be playing catch up at the running back and wide receiver position. I could go back-to-back wide receivers here in a Allen Robinson and a Terry McLaurin, very tempting. Or I could go maybe an Allen Robinson and a Joe Mixon to get that second running back. Yes, Mixon has a question mark surrounding him, but when you pair him up with a Christian McCaffrey who's as safe as they get, then you start to feel a little bit better about Joe Mixon. If we went Robinson and McLaurin, you look at the other running backs that we'd probably be considering, and they're guys like a Darrell Henderson, probably a Mike Davis. You look at where Darrell Henderson falls on this list, and it's all the way to 49th overall. So we could take a gamble that he is going to be there, in 20 picks from now, but it's a little bit risky. And, I probably would err on the side of caution with it, but look, let's just make one of these picks, which is going to be a wide receiver. I'm going to go with Allen Robinson with the first pick. And I will say this. Usually, this is what I would advise if you're in the situation. In the second and third round, either go a wide receiver and a wide receiver. Again, if you go tight end, I understand the appeal to it, but I think you're going to be able to get somebody in the fourth round that, like a Kyle Pitts or a TJ Hawkinson, that could also be very valuable there, a full 2 rounds afterwards. While here you can focus on wide receiver and running back. So that's the logic there. Here, I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm going to go Joe Mixon, and I'm going to go for the upside. DeAndre Swift, definitely up for consideration, but I'm scared about that groin. I'm scared about the presence of Jamal Williams. If Swift was healthy and if we weren't getting all this smoke about Jamal Williams, I'd probably take DeAndre Swift over Joe Mixon. I like the offensive line more, but because of those question marks, I kind of got to dock DeAndre Swift several spots. So we're going to go Joe Mixon here and see what happens in the next round. See whether that gamble was the smart way to do it, or whether we could have gotten Darrell Henderson and gotten a wide receiver in the third round. And you kind of, spoiler alert, you get your question answered as you see Darrell Henderson's name still there. But let's look at these next picks. After Joe Mixon, you see Darren Waller, Josh Allen, Mike Evans, Patrick Mahomes. Way too early for those quarterbacks. I continue to say it. Just wait around later. Get Kyler Murray. Get Lamar Jackson. CeeDee Lamb, then George Kittle, Robert Woods, Julio, Terry McLaurin. So Terry falls all the way to the end of the third round, followed by David Montgomery, Chris Godwin, Chris Carson, Amari Cooper, then J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift. So look at where all DeAndre Swift falls to all the way to the start of the fourth round. I think that's very good value. Like I said, under heavy consideration with that first pick in the third round because I love the PPR upside. Then you see Kyler Murray, Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders. I don't like that Miles Sanders pick one bit. He's a guy that I'm just absolutely staying away from. Then the run on wide receivers. Unfortunate because I would have absolutely happily scooped up one of those guys, either a Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, definitely a Deontay Johnson. But look, here what we're going to do, I'm looking at our options. I really like TJ Hawkinson and I really like Darrell Henderson. I like them in that order. We get our flex player. We get a tight end that has wide receiver one type of upside, basically a wide receiver at the tight end spot translation. T. Higgins, also not a bad pick, but I think that we're going to be able to get really good wide receiver depth later on. So here, again, I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson with one of the picks, then TJ Hawkinson. I'm not looking at quarterback. I want to get the other parts of the starting roster taken care of. So let's go with Darrell Henderson first. I think his upside is more than that of a Mike Davis or a Myles Gaskin on that offense with the Rams. And then here we're going to go with a TJ Hawkinson. So let's quickly show you what our roster will look like. There you see it, Christian McCaffrey, Mixon, Robinson, Hawkinson, and Henderson. So, you could go with the fact that, yes, Mixon is kind of a risky pick. So to counteract that, you get a guy in Darrell Henderson who, without Cam Akers, now is somebody that has huge upside and is going to make the running back situation a lot safer and just gets you depth at a very important position as well. So best of both worlds. But quickly going over the 5th and 6th round, Kenny Golladay, Juju, Lamar there finally goes, Kyle Pitts shortly thereafter, TJ Hawkinson, then Judy, then Jacobs, Mike Davis, Mark Andrews, ETN. At least ETN, when he's going here at the end of the 5th round, is after like Darrell Henderson, after Montgomery, after Carson. I've seen ETN go ahead of those guys, and I can't advise not to do that enough. Brendan Ayuk, Prescott, Russell Wilson, so a little bit of run on quarterbacks. Then Devonta Smith. I think it's a little bit too early for Devonta Smith. Right now, technically the top rookie wide receiver being drafted. I'd still probably draft Chase above him. Then you see Dallas Goedert, Edmonds, Myles Gaskin, Logan Thomas, Robbie Anderson, Michael Carter, Odell, and Kareem Hunt. So let's look at the big board. Let's see what we have available to us. Jamar Chase would be my highest ranked wide receiver at this point in time. I don't love the fact that we're, potentially loading up on the Cincinnati Bengals offense with Mixon and with Jamar Chase. But, I do believe that Chase is somebody that out of all these wide receivers that are left kind of has the highest upside. I also do like Chase Claypool as a guy that is high touchdown upside, maybe a little bit more suited for standard type of scoring. Even though news did come out earlier today that he, suffered an ankle injury, so don't really know the severity of it, quote unquote minor, but those ankle injuries, potentially high ankle sprain with only like 2 weeks to go until the start of the season, 3 weeks. It's a little bit questionable, so I'll go Jamar Chase here with one of our picks, and then, you know what? I might just go Chase and then Claypool. Get more wide receiver depth. We still only got, Allen Robinson basically. So I think that's the way we'll do it. We've got running backs, quarterbacks. The top quarterbacks are off the board. So I'm just going to go my top 2 wide receivers at this point in time. Easy peasy. And we automatically build depth at that position. So let's go Jamar Chase with our first pick. Then we will go Chase Claypool, and we are at a good spot, in my opinion. And then we'll see what's happened in the next 2 rounds to see if some guys that we liked have gone off the board or not, and how we are going to counteract that situation. So looking at the draft board, you see Aaron Rodgers, you see Courtland Sutton, Boyd, DJ Shark, Herbert, Brady, run on quarterbacks. In between that, sandwich Deebo Samuel, Ryan Tannehill, Matthew Stafford. So let's see how many teams have a quarterback at this point in time. Well, everybody but us. So I feel better about waiting on the quarterback position. At least we've got that going for us. Antonio Brown at the end of the 7th was kind of hoping he'd fall to us. Damian Harris was hoping he would fall to us. Then Will Fuller, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas at that point is a luxury pick that right now I'm kind of staying away from. Melvin Gordon, Jarvis Landry, Javonte, Ronald Jones, Sermon, Marvin Jones, Curtis Samuel, and James Robinson. Good value on Ronald Jones there in the 8th round. So right now, looking at our cheat sheet again, the running backs that I'd be looking at, I don't really love any of them. The wide receivers, Russell Gage is a guy that comes to mind that I'd be okay taking a chance on at this point in time. I think he's severely, severely underrated. If I had to take a running back, probably, Raheem Mostert is the guy that sticks out, but I think he's kind of injury prone, so I'm worried about that. I'd rather go with the Jamal Williams, honestly. I'd go with the Jamal Williams with all the, potential talk surrounding him and the Detroit offense and his role in it. But let's quickly get Russell Gage. He'll be one of these picks. And then it probably will be Jamal Williams. Yeah. I don't feel too bad about it. You look at how many players are ahead of Jamal Williams. It's not like it's, 20, 30 players. So I don't think it's a horrible reach. Russell Gage, I have ranked higher than this, so I don't feel bad about taking him at this point in time. And then, again, the logic being with quarterback, everybody has a quarterback, so we can wait on the position. Let's quickly add these guys to our list. We have added Russell Gage. He will be one of these selections, so we have got him. I like him on the Atlanta offense. There's near 100% that he had been available 2 rounds from now. Well, it's okay. Just at this point in time, this late, you kind of go get your guys. And I feel good about the foundation that we've built. So getting somebody that I believe in is a good thing. And now let's go with Jamal Williams next. If there's somehow a run on backup quarterbacks, then okay, I was wrong. We should have gone a quarterback here. But I'm just kind of looking at the situation, and I'm going to go with Jamal Williams. Yes, I'm going to hear it from people. Oh, you should have gone Raheem Mostert over Jamal Williams, yada, yada, yada. Well, okay, I'm worried about the injury concerns with Raheem Mostert. I'm worried about Sermon. I'm worried about, all the running backs that they have. So, no, thank you. Let's see what happened here if there were any other quarterbacks selected or if we were justified in waiting. And as you can see, we were justified. After our Jamal Williams pick, you see Raheem Mostert. No notable big-time running backs or run on tight ends here. Elijah Moore goes, a trendy rookie wide receiver. All running backs in the 10th round, pretty much, other than Austin Hooper. You see guys like a David Johnson. As much as I, don't like the situation in Houston, Johnson will probably carry some type of low end running back 2 value, but it'll be so unpredictable that I'd rather just not deal with it. Tony Pollard goes here with the pick before us. So right now, we're finally going to get our running back, our quarterback, and the guy that I highest upside at this point in time would be Jalen Hurts. So let's add Jalen Hurts to the squad. We've got him here. We could potentially go a safer choice with one of our final picks. Let's see what our roster looks like. We've got 2 more picks to make, so it'll be 1 more pick here and then the wraparound afterwards to end this thing out. And here I'm going to go with a guy at the wide receiver position that I like, and Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. Darnell Mooney is also tempting. I just don't know if the Chicago offense is built to, kind of sustain all that fantasy success, even if it's, Justin Fields or Andy Dalton. So I think Allen Robinson is kind of the guy right now, but I'm going St. Brown here. And I think he's got a chance to succeed immediately in his rookie season. So we go with him. Let's see, maybe we'll see a run on backup quarterbacks here. And if that does happen, that's all right. If Joe Mixon is still there, I'll probably go, or not Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow. Oh, he is picked literally right before we get a chance to make a selection. So that isn't the case, but that's all right. There's still some other good options here. Let's quickly see who those options are. Trevor Lawrence, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins. Is Darnell Mooney still available? Darnell Mooney still is there. I could go a guy like a, Kirk Cousins, kind of a safe, boring pick. Matt Ryan, I'll be disciplined here and I'll go a little bit boring. I'll go with a Kirk Cousins to back up Jalen Hurts. So we've got our quarterback, and that is the end of this mock draft. And we actually get a relatively high grade, A-. So running through the roster, obviously Jalen Hurts, McCaffrey, Mixon. So we went running back heavy in the first couple of rounds. We also did Darrell Henderson. I think that's why we get that higher grade, because we have high upside type of guys at the most important positions. All, obviously McCaffrey, RB1. Mixon in that category. Darrell Henderson has got the upside. And then wide receiver, we just did a very good job of loading up wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver. We got a difference maker at tight end. I was hoping at quarterback we could get a better backup option, but with Kirk Cousins, it is what it is. I probably should have taken Joe Burrow first and then Amon-Ra St. Brown with our last pick in this draft. But overall, I like the way that this turned out. Let me hear it in the comment section, whether you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. And again, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. Get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide while you're there. And in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.